healed. The woman would have been on a gurney within a month. She had 3 machines she had a feeding tube for 2 years. She was on huge oxygen tubes. So she had the breathing machine, the kidney machine, no function. So she's got these 3 machines, and she's got an aide with her, and she's on a walker. She can barely move. The Lord came rolling in again. It was like a crazy sovereign thing. 4,000 people packed out in this Brazilian church. And I watch CJ, the woman is down in the corner. I can see her out of my eye, and I'm like, wow, that woman's like ropes of tubes and all this stuff. And I'm thinking, wow, like, God, touch her. But I watch CJ jumps in front of her as the Spirit of God comes, and he puts his hand, he didn't even touch her, puts his hand towards her. The power of God hits her, and I watch his face. He catches my eye. And this is the logic part of your brain that goes, oh, dear Jesus, please don't let her come unplugged. That's what you think. That's totally what you think. You're like, oh God, she could come unplugged. But in your mind, in your spiritual mind, you're like, heal her, heal her, heal her. Please don't come unplugged. You know? I mean, it's like crazy land. So he dives behind her and catches her. I was like, boy, that was pro. That was exceptional. He catches her, lays her out, and stays with her like he's freaked that she's dead, because she is so, I mean, literally tubes everywhere. And he laid her down, and then he gets up and he kind of looks at me, and I'm all, I don't know, I feel good, you know? So he goes around, and he's like just praying for different people. She comes out, and then I hear the story. They brought her to me. She's a different person. Like the picture before and after, this woman's life, she the next morning she pulled her feeding tube out. She drank 4 cups of coffee. And then she ate breakfast, and she tells me on the platform through the interpreter, I bring her up to give a testimony. I'm like, come on, let's go. Jesus is the king. She gives his testimony, and she goes, yeah, I pulled out my feeding tube, and she holds up her shirt. I'm like, TMI, man. The thing is like, it's down. And then she's got 1 little oxygen tube because they have to take it out surgically from her back, and that's all. And the last night, when she gives her testimony, we had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people get healed. Boom, like that, like nuts. That's the glory of God. So I just can't tell you what is happening right now is things we have never seen. I messaged Randy Clark and I said, about 6 months before this trip, have you ever seen ALS healed? He said, no. And I said, me neither. I said, I'm a little intimidated to pray for that. And he goes, me too. And I mean, you're just being honest, right? Yeah. And he goes, I think if you're intimidated and I'm intimidated, let's go after it. And I'm like, yeah. You go after it and tell me how that goes. You know, he's such a spiritual dad to me. So we ended up both really, really praying. And this is the first ALS case that came into the meeting. He had just, about 2 months before, messaged me and said, 2 cases of ALS that night. And then I messaged him and said, oh, wow, what we just saw. And he goes, Goliath has fallen. I was like, yeah. So I want you to be encouraged that through you just say, Lord, here I am. Use me in the Starbucks. Use me in the grocery store. Use me in these places, okay?